Hey, what's up everybody? Here's Matsik once again with another video. Today I'm going to be showcasing how to get system privileges on Attacktive Directory from TryHackMe. This is one of the best probably Active Directory machines or environments in TryHackMe. And this is a medium difficulty level box. And there you go. Let's go ahead. If you haven't set up your box, in case you're using a custom install of Linux, you can pim your Kali following these instructions, and there you go. So we're on task 3 just to start, and in order to enumerate, it suggests that we can use Nmap. Actually, we can use a lot of other tools like Rust Scan or some other scanners out there, and here it says there are flags for each account, and we can retrieve them for each account via RDP. And spookysec.local looks like the domain. We'll see it anyway on Nmap. And it says, well, I've already ran my Nmap scan with TACPN as always to tell the host is already up and running. I've merged several flags, and I'm gonna explain it. So tag SS means an stealth scan. That means if it will perform a half open scan, that is a SYN scan, instead of carrying out the full TCP three-way handshake, it will just get to the second handshake, the second way, and cut it out, right? In older IDS and EDRs, that will be stealthier. However, in newer ones, that won't be much of help. So we have appended to it the V for a version detection scan for the services found, each port, and C appended to it to just run some default scripts to each of those if in case Nmap has them, right? -p- just means it's gonna be scanning the whole range of ports, which are from 1 to 65,635, I think. Something like that. And -n to disable DNS resolution, and V to make it verbose, minimum rate to use at least, I think, at least 500 packets a second, I think, and ON to save my results to a file called general on the folder Nmap, and that's a attacking IP. That's it. So we have found several ports. Since this is an Active Directory environment, we have of course Kerberos and port 88, then RPC 139, and actually I don't see 455 or SMB, but it should be. When you use options such as min rate, it's likely for you to miss some ports. So I always recommend in a real engagement or an exam, just use T5 as maximum. And we have LDAP, RPC again, LDAP. These are just some endpoints for RPC. And yes, so we have some information here from some default scripts, which name is RDP and TLM info, for example. We have target name THAMID, TryHackMe Active Directory, and if you see this question, that will answer it, right? So we can submit it and we get a correct answer. And what else do we have? 15985 for Windows Remote Management, WinRM. This .NET message framing, HTTP API, Microsoft. This is kind of an endpoint for RPC again, and that's it. All other endpoints. So following the instructions in here, it will say what tool will allow us to enumerate port 139 and 445, which are SMB, right? And the one tool that will help us is enum for Linux, right? This is a very common tool. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's just a headache to use, but we can use it. And if you specify it, if you don't specify any flag with it, it will run by default a flag which is -a, which is to perform some basic enumeration. Now I usually like to define my t variable as in target with the contents of my target IP, right? So let me copy it. Oh, it's not copying. What's going on? There you go. So t, let me remove this space, this one too. So enum for Linux, and it will start enumerating, right? We can find a lot of information with these tools, such as groups, system groups, users, via brute forcing, of course, a lot of that stuff. So what invalid TLD do people commonly use for their Active Directory domain? When people and companies are testing their Active Directory environment, they usually use the .local domain, as you can see here, which is spookyseg.local. And if you click hand, it says spoiler, the full AD domain is spookyseg.local. That also appears here in the nmap scan thing. The nmap results, as you can see here, spookyseg.local 0. That's 0, you can just disregard it. So .local, we have it correctly. Then we can just pass to the task 4, and we can enumerate users via Kerberoast. So with command within Kerberoast, now it's saying what tool we can use. And if you read this carefully, you'll see that we can use Kerberoast and a tool called the Kerberoast. Now you can install it on OPT, for example, and you can create a symbolic link as follows. I'm gonna just tap this. You can create a symbolic link like this: ln attack s, and you just need to opt tool Kerberoast. Once you have it installed, I think dist and Kerberoast Linux AMD, then user bin local user local bin, I think it is local bin and Kerberoast, right? I already have it. That's why I can just execute like this. Now you're gonna see that I already have some this syntax because I already did the machine, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna be just walking you through the process, right? So we can use Kerberoast. We'll see that we have several options in here, which are brute force, brute user, password spray, user enum, version. In this case, of course, we're going to be using user enum. And as you can see here, the machine actually provides us with 2 word lists for both user and passwords. So we're going to be, let's go to contents and get this one. And then the password list, like this. Now we do have 2 of them. So user enum, right? And we actually need to specify the domain. So just as you can see here, spookyseg.local, and then we can just specify the user list, right? As it says in here. I don't know why the tag O flag, which is output, doesn't work. So I'm not gonna be using it. But we should be able to run it with this, and it says couldn't find any KDC, which stands for Key Distribution Centers, for realm spookyseg.local. Please specify a domain controller. So we need an IP, the IP of the domain controller to resolve to spookyseg.local, and we can specify with --DC and our IP, which is stored into the T variable, right? So let's go with that, and you're gonna see that it's starting. It's starting to brute force the KDC, the Key Distribution Center. Remember, that is just a synonym for the domain controller, basically. And this Kerberoast tool is amazing because it actually finds any Kerberoastable account, such as this one. So we have it's found that svc-admin is Kerberoastable, and what other way do we have to find this out? So we can let me do here. There's a tool in Packet which is get mp users.py, right? If you execute it like this, you're gonna be seeing some examples. So in here we can request granting tickets for all users, and all of those that have the UF don't require pre-auth. Okay, in this case svc-admin will work, right? So actually let me create a contents nano valid users. I'm gonna be James svc-admin, Robin Darkstar, administrator backup products, and let's just wait, and I'm gonna be explaining this. So we can request, for example, this is an example, right? So request ticket granting tickets for users in a file. That's what we want to do in case we wouldn't find this out with this tool, right? That's the manual way, the traditional way. So I'm gonna be using no pass because I don't have a password. And I'm gonna be specifying users file. Remember, this is just from the example, right? So I'm gonna be using contents and valid users, just like in the syntax you see it here. And then I need to specify the DCIP just as before, and the domain. Now look at this. The example shows the domain with a trailing slash, right? Don't forget to do it to write it, cause otherwise it won't work. So you need to specify it at the end of it. So once we do that, Robin, James, I don't know if there's other users. Let's go with that in the meantime. And target, remember I don't have the variable t defined here. Now it's copied, so do like that, and there you go. And look at that, James doesn't have UF, don't require pre-auth. Now what can we do with this hash? This hash, we can actually crack it, right? We can try to crack it with both what was the name? I mean John the Ripper in hashcat, right? So I'm gonna be creating a hash file, saving it into here, and in order to answer these questions, we're gonna be using hashcat, but just for showing you guys how to answer these questions, I'm actually gonna be using John the Ripper. It's my preferred tool, and that's it. So user enum, that's it. That's the command within Kerberoot that will allow us to enumerate valid usernames. And it says what notable account is discovered. In terms of notable, I'd say svc-admin, right? So what is the other notable account is discovered? Well, I'd say administrator, but no, maybe backup. There you go. That is interesting, a backup account. So we can move forward to the task 5, which is exploitation and abusing Kerberos. Look at this. Let's read a little bit, because this is what we just did. Sorry. So it says introduction. After the enumeration of user accounts is finished, we can attempt to abuse a feature within Kerberos with an attack method called Attacktive. Yes, actually, I wasn't accurate with the terminology. It wasn't Kerberoasting, but Attacktive. Okay, so let's read what it is. So Attacktive occurs when a user account has the privilege does not require pre-auth notification set. This means that the account does not need to provide valid identification before requesting a Kerberos ticket on the specified user account. So how do we retrieve the Kerberos tickets? In Packet, which you can install on the second task, I think, then Packet has a tool called getMpUsers.py located in Packet, whatever, that will allow us to query ASREP roastable accounts from the key distribution center. Remember, this is just a synonym for domain controllers. And it says the only thing that's necessary to query accounts is a valid set of usernames, which we enumerated previously via root. Remember, Packet may also need you to use a Python version greater or equal to 3.7, whatever. So we have two user accounts that we could potentially query a ticket from. Which user account can you query a ticket from with no password? We already saw SVC admin. And it says, looking at the Hashcat examples wiki page, what type of Kerberos hash they will retrieve from the KDC? Now, in case you don't know it, Hashcat does have a example list right here where you can query, where you can see a lot of hashes and see the type of it. So, how would you do that? Like this. I would copy this and come up here and then Control F to find coincidences. Now look at that. If I paste this, I'm seeing now the type of the hash, which is Kerberos 5 etype 23 asrep. So this is the name of it. If you wouldn't have found this, I just would have like removed this one by one until I get a match. So yeah. So this is the whole name. There you go. And the hash is just 18,200. Right? So again, I recommend you to see how can you use Hashcat, how you can use Hashcat to crack this hash. I'm gonna be using just John. So I can use like this, John hash, which is a file I saved the hash at, and then the user, the world is user is rockq.txt. So I launch it, and I'm gonna be receiving the password right away. You can see this, management 2005. Now, with this we can, our attack range or attack vectors widen, right? We can do a lot of things. One of them is I would use crackmapexec to do some password spray to see if I have another account with that same password, right? First things first. So crackmapexec smb. So we can use our t variable, and then we can specify, hey, I want to use content valid users, and I'm going to be using, sorry for that guys, it's kind of a spoiler, but it's okay. So there you go, and we're going to be password spraying this password along all the users. Now there's a flag which we can use to continue upon success. Otherwise you will just stop until, for example, here it found this SVC admin, so it would stop. We can skip this part and just continue on success, and we're gonna be trying that. Cool. So there is no password we're using here. That's cool. And the other thing we can do, and I actually like to use two tools for this, is I like to use SMB map, tag h to specify the host, and then I can use tag -u to say SVC admin p management 2005, just to see the permissions I have on every share. Now I also have that option with crackmapexec. I'm gonna be doing it just right now. So it's working on it. And there you go. So I have read-only permissions in backup, also in IPC, which I don't have much information in there, net logon as well. And in sysvol, we can also try to find some, well, I forgot about it, but there's kind of a misconfiguration that is sometimes present about a .xml file, where you can find some credentials. But I'll let that for other machine. Please feel free to Google it in case you're interested on it. But the way to do it with correct map exec is just to specify the tag shares, right? So when it hits a valid combination, it will list out all the shares available. We'll see how it's done. Oh, it actually didn't work. Let me just continue on success, just like that. It's resolving the shares. There you go. Same thing. Read. So I can use same SMB client, and in order to list my shares, I'm going to be using I mean, normally it's just like this. And I can use backup and specify a user, which is SSBC admin, and it says NT status unsuccessful. Let me see why I don't remember. Yep. So what happens there is that, remember, the backslash is actually a special character on Linux. So if you use something like this, it's like it's only using this backslash, and the other one is being like escaped. You know, I mean, this backslash it's actually escaping this one as well as this one. And if I specify just like this, then this backslash is escaping the B, right? So I need to specify this so that this backslash escapes this backslash, and I want to create here one backslash to escape the next one, and again one backslash to escape the next one, so that it actually interprets like just two, and here just one. I mean, I hope that makes sense. And when I execute it, I can just type management 2005, and I will see the same thing, right? But without the permission type. But when I remove this L, which stands for list, I can management 2005, and I have access like in a terminal, right? So I can ls, and I have a file, backup credentials, so I can, like this, get backup credentials, download it, exit out, and I can cut backup credentials. It looks like a basic C4, so let's decode it, and there you go. So you have a password, a new combination, which is backup at spookysec.local, and a backup. And what I try to do right now is just do the very same thing here, right? Which is SMB client, just like this, with backup. Maybe I do have some, well, not actually not like this, but just SMB map. Let's go with that. You backup P and this password, right? Same thing. And here I find that, well, let's wait just a bit. Well, we can see that we don't have access to the backup folder, and we don't have access either to any other folder, right? So that's fine. And another thing we can do, we can do a lot of things in here. For example, I like to see if I can use crack map exec with WinRM, right? WinRM like this, TU. I'm gonna be using backup T like this. This is because I want to see if backup has Windows remote management permission, so I can use civil WinRM with it. And what else? SVC admin in here with management 2005. And we don't have either. Now I like to see if we can RDP ourselves in. That is, have remote desktop protocol access. I will check that out. I mean, I'm trying it because the machine said we could do it. And SVC admin backup RDP. And we don't. So fine. So now there's another tool we can use in here. Every time we have valid credentials basically, which is secret stump like this. Now I'm gonna be explaining everything, don't worry. So secret stump.py, we can just execute it and see the options you have. And as you can see in my syntax, you need to specify a DCIP as always, and the way to right here, the way the specify the target is domain spookysec.local / username, then colon password, and add the target name for local, right? So let's try that right away. So it's spookysec.local backup, for example, and well, this is the password, and add our IP again, right? So this is basically taking advantage of some even though we don't have access, it's taking advantage of some privileges this account has. And obviously in a real environment, this would need a lot of EDR, antivirus, IDS evasion, right? Because it's not possible, like off the land, right? Well, in this case, I want to T hashes. T is utility we can use to save the content or the output of any command, any tool as we go. It differentiates from the redirection pipe like this in the fact that this greater than sign won't show like the output, right? Well, it will. So cool. So we have hashes. Now look at this. Actually, nope. Here again. So cat hashes like this, and you can see here we have some Kerberoasting keys grabbed. This will not work for our attack, while this will, because these are like NTDS.DET secrets, and these are NTLM hashes. So if you didn't know, we can actually use these hashes to perform an attack called pass the hash. So cool, we don't have the administrator's password, but we do have the hash, so we can actually log in with this one. I'm not really sure if we need the whole line like this or just this part. Remember, if you haven't seen, that this port is the same for every hash, because it's like the identifier of the domain, or yeah, right? So it's the same for all of them. So we can use a tool called WinRM. So with that, I'm gonna be specifying the IP with the user, and if I had a password, I could use P, right? Let's try it like that. Obviously it won't work, password is not the password, but in this case we do have a hash, so we can use H, and I think it only needs this one, right? So that will work as a password for us. and we'll see what's up. And there you go. So we do have now a PowerShell session as administrator. So we're basically a root, in the authority system, and we can do whatever we want, right? OMI all, and now look at that, all the privileges we have. We're effectively system. It says now crack the hash. Management 2005, forget about that. Enumeration, back to the basics. Let's just get up to speed. What utility? I don't know, SMB map or SMB client maybe. Right, there you go. Which option will list the shares? As I told you, tag L, capital L. How many remote shares the server listing? I don't know, probably 5. I don't remember right now. 6. That's it. There's one particular share that we have access to that contains text file. Backup. What is the content of the file? Let's go. Let's go back. So, cat backup credentials. I'm gonna be clip cell clip just to copy it. And there you go. And the code in it will give us A64D, which is the password, right? There you go. And here we need to elevate privileges within the domain. Look at that. Well, now in this, let's read it. I'm just gonna be like not showing that image just for your eye safety. I hate seeing white, bright pages like that. So it says, now let's sync up. Now that we have new username, new user account credentials, we may have more privileges on the system than before. The username of the account backup gets us thinking, what is this the backup account to? Well, it is a backup account for the domain controller. This account has a unique permission that allows all Active Directory changes to be synced with this user account. This includes password hashes. Right, so it says, now in this we can use another tool within Packet called secretstamp.py. This will allow us to retrieve all of the password hashes that this user account that is synced with the domain controller has to offer. Exploiting this, we will effectively have full control over the AD domain. So what method allowed us to dump NTDS that did? We have a hint. Read the secret stamp output. We can do that. Secrets dump.py. Let's just read a bit. So it says extract, for example here, extract only NTDS.dit data for user specified, only available for DRSU API approach. I think that's the answer. I'm not really sure, I don't remember by now. And there you go. Now I encourage you as always to Google it out. Maybe use ChatGPT to have it explain it to you. That would be a good alternative. And it says, what is the administrator's NTLM hash? Cat hashes. Let me copy the administrator. I think it asks for all of this. Nope. Just this one. There you go. What method of attack could allow us to authenticate as a user without the password? Could allow us to authenticate as a user without the password. As a hash, remember that, right? So we don't have a password, but we do have a hash, so let's pass it on. And it says, using a tool called evalwinRm, what option will allow us to use a hash? Tag H for hash. So let's close this one. Like this, and flag submission panel. So it will ask us for a lot of flags in here. I'm going to show you the method I use to always look for files in an easy way when I have this. I mean, basically, it's like, for example, this desktop. Do I have this option? Because PowerShell is sometimes a headache. I mean, we can do that, of course, but it's not like we can specify a... Nope. It's not like we can specify a wildcard to list the contents of all of them. So, let me explain it. So I'm going to be using CMDC because we are on PowerShell. This will execute commands from the command line interface of Windows. And I'm going to be using dir s b a -d -h. I'm going to be specifying one directory back, which is an administrator, and one back as well, which is the users folder. I'm going to be piping that to find string in a case insensitive mode and verbose. And when I want to, for example, I can add data, but in case I want to specify multiple of them, I can just enclose it into quotation marks and just write in them. Now there's one local settings right there. I've seen it. What others have noise links? It's not useful sometimes. So let's go with that. We're gonna be seeing some noise, and we're gonna be refining it as we go, because there will be a lot of other like folders we don't want. But this is actually, I believe, the best method we can use to enumerate like all the users folders, right? So let's just wait a bit. It could take a while. Like that. So we need to well, I like to filter out or rip out. Basically, find string is the very same thing. Application data, Microsoft. Mira, look at that, Microsoft. Yeah. So application data, Microsoft. Those will always take it as single words. It's not like local settings, but local and settings and links and application and data, Microsoft, and so on and so forth. I like to, for example, disregard the send to and the start menu, just in case. Let's go with that, and we'll see from there. Well, it's taken more than I thought. Probably just cutting the video and resuming it when I'm done. All right, there you go. We have the our output, and we see several ticks. So for the I can see here a backup file, which is previsk. I'm gonna be just using type to type previous.txt out, and I can see one flag. Backup. There you go. Now SVC. For SVC, I see a user.txt.link. Then I see a desktop user.txt. So let's type it out as well. And we have the pre-auth Kerberoast flag. And last but not least, the administrators. Let's just look for it. All users, administrator. Look at that. Oh well, I mean, we saw it before, right? So let's type it out too. And there are our 3 flags. And there we go. Whoop whoop. Your answer is correct. Congratulations. Go ahead and share it on your LinkedIn. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys learned a lot. I always encourage you to read some other write-ups, for example, from the Mayor, which is a pretty well-known pen tester from TCM Security. And actually this walkthrough from TCM, which is the Cyber Mentors official write-up as well. What else? I mean, SalmonSec, I think I've seen it like before in other machines, doing cool write-ups. Smiley, Mr. Seth as well. Well, I mean, you always take a look at all of them, like at least 5, so that you can familiarize yourself with some other techniques and other commands, other variations, other stuff, always. And yes, that's it. Basically, that's a wrap for today. And feel free to leave your comments, any comment, suggestion, critic, whatever you want. I'm open to it. And yes, that's it. Bye bye. Thank you for joining.